With the NFL season starting up, and I'm not picking on the NFL, but inevitably some team, hopefully not one of your favorite teams, but some team will lose 2 or 3 games in a row. And usually at the post-game press conference after that third loss, the coach will say something to the, I can promise you this, you're gonna laugh when you see it, will say something to the effect of, tomorrow at practice, we are getting back to the basics.
Getting back to the basics.
Back to the basics of it, you know.
We're going back to the basics.
Back to the basics.
I think we just got to get back to the basics.
We just got to get back to basics.
We have to get back to the basics.
Just getting back to square one and getting back to the basics of football.
Locking in, getting back to the basics, man, fundamentals.
We just got to get back to the basics.
The basics.
Going back to the basics, going back to the fundamentals.
Now, keep in mind that NFL head coaches are some of the best leaders on the planet. I mean, you're talking about a vocation where there's only 30 jobs in the world. So those guys are brilliant, brilliant coaches. But it always makes me laugh that if your solution to the problem is to get back to the basics, how about you never leave the basics in the first place?
And as you all know, we live in a world that unconsciously tells us it's okay to skip steps. Tells us we should always be looking for a shortcut and a hack. Tells us we should constantly be chasing what's new and what's shiny and what's flashy. But I'm here to tell you, when you do those things, you're making a huge mistake. And that's because the basics work. They always have and they always will. And the very first step to you improving your performance in any area of your life, it doesn't matter if it's personal or professional, doesn't matter if it's individual or organizational, but the very first step is to admit that the basics work.
If you work on blocking, tackling, throwing, and catching every single day, then that won't be the reason that you're not successful. Now, there'll be another reason, and it doesn't mean that you won't lose 2 or 3 games in a row if you do work on those things, but don't ever let that be the reason. It goes back to the controllables. So anytime you think, I need to get back to the basics, you're already a step behind because you never should have left them in the first place.
But it's also having the humility to acknowledge that implementing the basics every single day is never, ever easy.
But that's okay. Remember, we give ourselves some space and some grace and some compassion to be less than perfect. So any of these things that we're sharing right now, if you need to go back to the basics when we leave here, that is awesome. And I want to encourage you and support you and cheer for you to do that. It's a great jumping off point to recalibrate and get everybody on the same page. But then don't let that lull you into a sense of complacency. Just know that 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 months from now, you got to keep tightening those screws and keep refining that lens to make sure that everyone is staying on course with those things. But we definitely don't need to make it any more difficult than it needs to be. And we don't ever want to make things any more complex than it needs to be. Complexity undermines execution.